Hello and welcome back to the channel. Now I'm going to do a video obviously around the Rodri red card and what that means to us going forward, but I wanted to do it today rather than Saturday or Sunday because I wanted to see if anything was going to happen in the Arsenal game that I should be not concerned about, taking to note in terms of the situation, i.e. an injury, i.e. Declan Rice. And I wanted to give it today just to see, what the extent of the injury was. It turns out nothing really. He'll be fine. The man that never gets injured is not really injured. First off, we'll go into the game itself and then we'll obviously talk about how this will impact us going forward. So the Forest game, it was definitely a game of two halves. We were extremely dominant in the first, 2-0 up at half time, really in control, reducing to only one shot. Every kind of narrative about Man City this season is being proven wrong. I know there's not many, and I know they're not that serious, but they're all being proven wrong. The kind of, is Foden good enough? Is he a main man? All that nonsense. Doku, fair enough, I did fall into the category itself of his output, and is he just going to be this electric winger that just does, a lot of trickery and gets us nowhere? That's obviously being proven wrong. Nunes, how does he fit into the squad? And how do we kind of go on after winning a treble? Are these players going to lose their kind of performance? Are they kind of heads drop out? We've won it all now, but we've been even better. Some great goals in this game. Foden, the first goal, absolutely amazing. Rodri, from a lot further out, pass it over to Walker, who's having a great start to the season. Walker has really stepped up. Usually I've got a bit of question marks around him because I always said he's got one mistake in every game. And he's had periods where he's been a little bit poor, but absolutely faultless so far this season. I don't know what it is. Maybe it's the fact that he knows that he's wanted here, he's wanted by the fans, or maybe just, he's relaxed a bit more because once you've won a treble, you have won it all, so you can just go out there and enjoy your football. There's no pressure of underperforming in terms of, you haven't won this trophy, you haven't won that. You've done everything there is to do in football in a sense. Doesn't matter what it is. He's absolutely amazing so far this start of the season anyway. And Foden with a brilliant finish, very very deadly finish, hit straight into the floor. Obviously he probably meant to do that, but great finish. Second goal as well. The Nunes-Foden link up looks very nice. I started the season saying it'd be a Kovacic-Foden link and to look out for that. It just seems to be anyone and Foden this season, really. We've seen it with Alvarez in certain games, Kovacic, now Nunes. Like, playing 1-2s or playing in and around Foden must be such a joy because he can get you, unlock defences really easily. He sits in that little pocket and he'll either take it on the half turn or push forward himself, or the 1-2s, or just some smart play. He's so difficult to get off the ball. He's playing so well, and it's so good because there was literally one stick to beat City fans with this season, and it was Foden, and I mean it's already been broken really. Yeah, and it was good to see Nunes in those attacking spaces and to get an assist, especially more so I'd say, because obviously as I said before and as some others have said, yeah, we've seen good progression from him at Wolves. We saw a lot of physicality and a lot of moving of the ball, but nothing really in the final third. No real kind of attacking output, just pure progression of the ball. And yeah, he's proven us wrong. Like, he does seem to be a midfielder that can fit into Manchester City's system, which is amazing to see already. Doku and him and Gvardiol. I genuinely forget we've signed Gvardiol. That's how smooth of a transition it's been. But all three have settled in so well. And it's just so good, considering we do have the big injury of Kevin De Bruyne, to have someone in that position who can kind of do the same things. I'm obviously not saying he's anywhere near the ability of Kevin De Bruyne, but someone with the attributes to fill in and it doesn't make too much an impact on the squad is so vital. But the second half is where everything changed. Rodri's red card, it's so stupid. I have no clue how he got rattled so much. He's been through the biggest of games, remained calm in all situations. You think of the Atleti game, like that was just absolute chaos. He does not come up in memory at all with that. I don't remember even if he was there in the altercations that were happening, but he's always got such a cool head, but he completely lost it. No clue. Maybe he was pissed off that he lost the ball, because that's the only thing I can think of. Maybe it was kind of, he got the ball pinched off him. He maybe felt like it was a bit too rough. I thought it was fine, but he just lost it. But I'll talk about what the impact of that is in a bit. But in terms of the game itself, completely flipped it. As I said, we reduced them to one shot in the first half. In the second half, we were reduced to one shot. Every single metric, whether it be passes, touches, possession, attack, everything was Nottingham Forest the second half. Now, I'm a massive fan of Steve Cooper. I really, really am. I think he's highly underrated. I think, yes, he does look like Limmy. Yes, it's all fun and games, but genuinely, in that kind of humorous exterior, is a very, very, very good coach. I think what he's done in terms of England youth, in terms of taking Swansea, what he did with Swansea, and what he's doing with Nottingham Forest now, taking them from, I don't know if they were rock bottom, but they were very close to the bottom, at least, of the Championship, and he's taken them into a side that can, yes, handicapped Manchester City, but we've seen handicapped Manchester City still dominate the ball and just not be penetrative. They dominated us that second half and they were extremely good. But I'm very, very, very happy that we came out of that second half with a clean sheet. I've been slightly critical of the defence this season, not because of the players, mainly because of the fact that the rotation has been too heavy. I don't think, I need to look at this, the team, the lineup before this game, but before this game we hadn't had a single same back four in any game. So when you mix up a back four so much, you're going to have mistakes, you're going to have chemistry not quite there, you're going to have confusion, because a solid back four is, like, for me, the base. As soon as you've got a solid back four, that's when you can start to push on defensively, and if you're chopping and changing, mistakes are going to happen. And not only that, but we defended in a way that we're not used to, where we were the ones being pinned in. So just to see those two elements be kind of ticked off with a clean sheet, extremely happy with. And especially with players like Waine, Morgan, Gibbs-White, very, very talented attackers. Waine and Ederson, I don't know what that was about, but yeah, we seem to lose our head a lot in this game. I have no clue what it was. We were doing perfectly fine. The players were rattled a little bit, and it was just very confusing. But let's move on from Ederson being rattled to Rodri being rattled with the red. Jesus, we did not need that right now. Luckily, we've got a Carabao Cup game in the 3 games, so it's not all Premier League games, but that is Newcastle away in the Carabao Cup. Obviously a very difficult fixture to play anyway, let alone without Rodri. Then we'll have Wolves once again away, and then the most pivotal one, the one I kind of focused on, as everyone's focusing on, is Arsenal away in the Premier League. It's the kind of flagship one. Before the season started, everyone was looking at Arsenal, Manchester City. That game is huge, and obviously Arsenal away, that's the bigger game for the kind of market. If we beat them away, that just shows that, like, we are Premier League champions and we will be Premier League champions again. That is the, boys versus men kind of stamp on the season. We are going to dominate once again. We're coming to your backyard and we're going to beat you. And to not have Rodri in that fixture, as well as Kevin De Bruyne, who I think are both the most important players at Manchester City. I know we've got Haaland, he's great, he scores 1 million goals. But those two are, in my opinion, it's a bit harsh with Kevin De Bruyne. Rodri is the most important player at Manchester City, in my eyes, because he makes less mistakes and he is the best in the world at his position. Now, Haaland also is that, but he makes so much more mistakes. The amount of chances Haaland misses, and I'm not using this as a stick to beat him with, I'm just using it as a stick to, tickle Rodri with. Like, genuinely, Rodri makes 0 mistakes per game, apart from this one. And when he's not in the side, and I think back to that Champions League final against Chelsea, as soon as he's not on the team sheet, I know we're going to lose, or I know we're going to have a tough time. But that instance, you saw it. He played I think it was 55 games Man City played that season. He played 54. The only game he didn't play or start was that one. It's mental. He is our most important player. And to not have him scared me a lot. And going into the North London derby the next day, I was keen to see how they would play, if they're a bit more up for it. Are they looking vulnerable? Are they looking stronger? This, that, and the next. And I saw a few injuries. I was like, okay, maybe, because obviously the shift was there in the Arsenal game. When Declan Rice came off, the game was completely different in the same way it was for us. Obviously, we were a man down, but the importance of the 2 players is just there to see. Declan Rice coming off, I was like, okay, we've got a better chance now. It's not as difficult of a game, but then obviously it turns out that he's fine. It was just a kind of precautionary, and Declan Rice, the man who's made of steel, proves again that he will never be injured. I think he's got 1 illness in his career, no injuries. Like, it's amazing to see how he carries on. But how do we play against Arsenal is the big question. And obviously things will change between now and then. Injuries may happen, players might come back. But I genuinely think having a double pivot of Nunes and Calvin Phillips might not be the worst. You've got in both of those players the key attributes that Rodri brings. You've got calmness on the ball, you've got progression, you've got breaking up of play, and you've got sideways passing. And this season we've seen Rodri more in the box, and you've got that. You've got most of it with Nunes, I'm not going to lie. But, you know, you can have Calvin Phillips doing the kind of breaking up of play, getting kind of control of the ball, and then higher up the pitch doing the sideways passing, kind of just in there in the opposition third. We got Nunes who can do a bit more progressing, can still be physical and can still break up play, as well as kind of being a bit more penetrative. He can I did this last time, I think. He can penetrate more with his passing and play. So I don't think it's the worst. I think we'll be okay. With that, you might have to kind of change the formation up top a little bit more. Maybe put Grealish in if he's fit. Hopefully he's fit anyway, because you'll get a bit more defensive output than Doku or Foden or anyone like that. So I think Grealish is very, key to the missing of Rodri in this game. As long as you're getting a bit more defensive output from everyone who isn't a defender, if that makes sense, we should be okay. Because, as I said, Rodri does like 3 people's jobs, and you can get enough out of 2 to fill Rodri's role, I hope. But I don't think it's as scary as things are first being portrayed. It's a little bit scary, I'm not going to lie, but we've seen the way Tottenham play that they can be got at. I would say it's a bit harsh to say that Tottenham were the better side on the day. I think a draw was fair for the North London derby, but Tottenham exposed Arsenal a lot. And knowing Pep, I don't know him personally, but knowing what Pep does, he will go and he will study and he will see exactly where Arsenal's flaws are. And hopefully Calvin Phillips, who this is the biggest week for him at Manchester City, I really hope he plays well, because it's been a shame so far. It's a player that I've always wanted to do well at Manchester City. It was a confusing purchase, I will be honest, mainly from his side of things. Like, why does he move to Manchester City to, be on the bench for £50 million? But we've questioned it a lot. Ake is a prime example of that. If you stick around, throw your weight around, do your training well, perform as high as you can in training, and prove to Manchester City or Pep Guardiola that you're happy to be there, that you want to be there and you're willing to work, like, Pep will find a place for you. So hopefully Calvin Phillips has a great time, because he was okay against Forest. Maybe it was because it was a role he was a bit more used to, playing for Leeds, but yeah, I just really, really hope that he can kind of kick on and not embarrass him, because he's got a really bad reputation with Manchester City fans. And I do think it's unfair. He's had 0 time to prove himself. He's had like 5 games over 7 months that he's been able to play. It's ridiculous. So hopefully in the next 3 games domestically, he can really kick on, show that he's worth some of the 50 million at least, and try and get some of the fans off his back. Because, yeah, I don't like it. I think there are some fans out there who don't like it, and it'll be just good for him, good for City, because what's the point in just picking a player to hate if he's never playing? Do you know what I mean? It's not affecting how Manchester City play. We won a treble with him in our side. We're not a worse off team with him there. So why don't we just help him in the situation where he needs us? I don't know. It just annoys. Please get off Calvin Phillips. Give him some encouragement going forward, because that's the only way he's going to want to play for Manchester City. Rodri's not going to be fit forever. Rodri's not going to not get a red forever. So in these situations, we need Calvin Phillips to step up. And just hounding him and, saying, oh, he's shit and this, that, the next, is never going to help anyone. So football Twitter, fuck you once again. I think that's all I've got to say. It's probably a lot more of a ramble than I wanted it to be, but I want to ramble out anyway. Once again, as always, if you like the video, give it a like, comment, let me know where we can beat Arsenal. I think there are some obvious changes to be had, but I do think there are probably a few ways that I haven't really thought about that we could kind of slip a win in against Arsenal. That's an awful phrase. But yeah, let me know how you would play Arsenal in the comments below, and subscribe to the channel if you want to hear more City ramblings or football ramblings. I know I don't have much time for this, but I'm slipping you in when I can. I'm sorry. Okay, bye.